Let's see here. Cut this down. Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we sound good. Thank you for joining us on the live stream. Today's Monday. And, you know, we almost wrapped up in February. We almost wrapped up. February as this almost the first quarter of the year is almost done. You know, after March will be the first quarter. So we almost going into, you know, March, and the time is just flying by so quick, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like these weeks are just, you know, accelerating. I mean, it is just crazy. You know, me personally, you probably haven't seen me in a little bit. I've been busy behind the scenes, working on a whole lot of things, trying to, you know, put my master plan together. And once I put it together, then I could, you know, come in and do some other things, right? So, you know, I'm pretty sure you saw some new people come in. Inga, you know, from Cape Town, South Africa. I'm pretty sure if you've seen Larato or her video, she's out of Johannesburg. And you have Naledi and Renelle Ways, the last two that will be coming in. So Mzansi will be kind of covered. And the reason why I wanted to home in on South Africa, because South Africa is actually the #1 African country that watch our platform. And it makes sense. Because, you know, what we deal with here in America, you know, racism, white supremacy, you know, the legacy of apartheid, you know, in South Africa, and even some of the things they're still trying to, you know, deal with the remnants of that now, just like we're still dealing with the remnants of slavery. It makes a lot of sense. I've said before that from my experience in traveling to the African continent, South Africans, you know, I can relate to them a lot more, you know, more than any other group. You know, and I haven't really, I mean, I talked to a few people from Zimbabwe. I haven't been to Zimbabwe, not yet, but they dealt with literally the same kind of problem to Robert Mugabe, you know, fought it and got the white supremacists off, you know, their back. So definitely shout out to South Africa. But, you know, as we get started and letting some of y'all come in here, make sure you share the live with everyone. That you can. Make sure you click the like button. The reason why they say click the like button is because the way it works is if enough people that's coming in hit that like button, it tells the algorithm, hey, not only are they watching it, but they're actually liking it. So I'm going to give more priority to videos that are liked. That's why you hear content creators saying like more so than anything else. Also, thank you for those who have downloaded and became members of the African Diaspora News Channel app. If you have not done that, please do so. We're trying to get 10,000 members in 2024. And the reason why we're doing it the way we're doing it is because I've personally experienced, you know, on these platforms, how channels can be taken down. Like this one was taken down before. And if you know that story, and we got it back. But what if we didn't get it back, right? Then, you know, we had the issue of the Phillip Scott podcast before, you know, and so after that issue, I said, you know what? Okay, if you're not going to try to have your own, you know, website, apps, whatever you're going to have, you're just basically at the mercy, right? And yes, we'll use these platforms as we, you know, build those, you know, build our own up, right? But we should always have our own, period. Have your own. On top of that, you know, South Africa trip coming up, April. And, you know, looking forward to meeting the people that's going on the South Africa trip. I don't know if it's your first time going to South Africa, but I think you'll have a good time. You know, Mark and Dr. Latasha Blanton, they put on a good tour. I give them that. They know they know what we like, you know, as Black Americans, and they cater to that. That is the difference, because they're Black Americans, so they understand kind of our culture, the nuances and things like that, what we need. And so, you know, definitely that's why I decided to, you know, do another, you know, tour with them, because, you know, people have called me all kind of times, say, hey, I'd like to do a tour here, a tour there. And I tell them, no, I'm not doing that, because I look into what they got going on and I say, nah, I'm good. So don't think I'm just taking tour that somebody come with me with. No, I'm not. I'm actually rejecting more than I'm accepting. So, shout out to the people that's going to go there. You say, Alexandria, say you listen in the background. Okay, cool. Please listen and get the replay. But while I'm about to get started here, people are coming in as they come in. Some news. Our great brother from Flint, Michigan, Councilman Eric Mays. Eric Mays has transitioned. He is no longer here, and I was saddened to hear that. I found that out. And I said, man, I'm going to give you my exact reaction. My reaction when this happened, and Lord forgive me, but this is just my reaction. I said, man, why we got to lose Eric Mays? I said, Clyburn running around here all day long talking about, well, we ain't not going to get no reparations. Why Eric Mays? That's the brother we need to keep. You know what I'm saying? And I remember as a kid, I used to always see all the good people, all the people that did right, they always passed away. And always the bad ones we stuck with on planet Earth. And I never understood that. I like, man, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, this person died. And they're such a good person, such a sweet person. But the person that's Satan himself lived to be 100. Like, how does that work? And the preachers say, well, God giving them a chance to repent and get their life in order. Man, if they ain't got it in order, why? Listen, the person that got their life in order, let them stay so they can be a blessing to others. That's just how I feel, brothers and sisters. We always got to deal with the bad. I know I'm not the only one that maybe felt that way, but I'm like, come on, man. Listen, so let me cue up a clip of Eric Mays. So some, what stuff that we even covered on this channel. Let's cue our brother up, man, before I even get started in this podcast. No, not podcast, but live stream today.
You know that man was asking somebody for oral sex. It's been all on the news. And I don't like police chiefs.
Well, I disagree with what you just stated. You didn't ever hear that? I disagree with what you just stated. You made it sound like a fact. And you don't know that.
You say I made it sound like a fact. I said it was all on the news that they were talking about Booth and all sex. That a lady right there on Channel 12, Miss Dawes, who I think ran it and then put the complaint on the Channel 12 website. And I'm saying you the chief.
I don't care. I don't care who's in here.
I can't finish my
question. I answered.
So if you angry because I'm bringing it up?
No, I'm angry because...
Okay, then go and talk to the cows come on. When you finish, I'll talk again.
You always accuse of someone of cover up. The only person that covers up anything is you. You don't want to be convicted of covering up anything.
What am I covering up? The mic is yours. Am I covering up a girlfriend? Am I covering up a dope? What am I covering up that you just accused me of publicly? What am I covering up? Go ahead, the mic is yours. See, Chief, you discrediting yourself in front of me. I think you're a liar to say I'm going to cover up. You the police. Tell this public what you accusing me of covering up. Is it dope? Is it girls? Is it, because I can talk about some of what I think you don't want to come out. So go ahead. You said it with a frown on your face. You the big man. Tell this public and council, I'm asking you respectfully, what am I covering up? Or you just said that to try to defame or discredit me? Because I said you knew about the Booth case. Go ahead, don't get quiet now. You was out talking to me. What are you alleging that I'm covering up, Chief?
Mr. Mays, that's your time.
Madam Chair, you say what?
That's your time.
I'll call him back up in a second.
What is your point?
Are you telling me or chastising me for using a privileged motion? Is you fussing me out for using a privileged motion? Is that what you call yourself doing? What did you just say? What did you say? You're not going to allow me to do what? I mean, you laughing. I'm trying to hear what you're saying.
Okay, I think that you can hear me just fine, but for the record, I said I will not allow you to gaslight this community.
Gaslight?
Yes, sir. I suggest you look it up. We will continue with this
yourself.
appeal.
We'll deal with this after the appeal. Watch yourself.
As a reminder on the appeal.
Because I can use adjectives.
Excuse me, Mr. Mays, you are out of order.
When you dog me out and interrupt me and tell me I'm a gaslighter, I'm thinking that's some type of arsonist. And when I talk back to you, because I didn't call you no name or use no adjective, but I'm going to look up some and I'm going to remind you of what you called me sitting in that chair. Yeah, when you talk about me, you talk about both. Gaslighting. Don't use no more adjectives for me. You can shake your head all you want. You can turn red all you want. Leave me alone. And how dare you talk to me like that? You don't know me. Talking about you gaslight. Who are you to judge me? On me with some adjectives, but you had decorum. When you sit in that seat, you're high to a high level of standards and decorum. I can talk about you till the cows come home. How dare you? You don't know me. You didn't know my daddy, you didn't know my mama, and you don't know me. I don't even hardly talk to you.
Point of order.
What's your point?
Mr. Mays stated that it's about to get funky in here, and I don't know what he's referring to.
Point of information.
What's your point?
Do you want me to tell you? Gaslighting and adjectives, it's finna get funky in here because I'm finna use a bunch of adjectives.
Okay.
I'm sitting here burnt to a crisp, and you think it's funny. You think it's cavalier. You wasted all that time to get 2 votes, and you talking about me gaslighting something. I don't like the adjectives. Gaslighting. Those are catchwords to call me a fool or to say something about somebody black if you sit up in that seat. I ain't buying it. I don't appreciate it. Business. I got a son older than you. Who do you think you disrespecting talking about gaslight?
And that was our brother Eric Mays. And he's an ancestor now, and yeah, I just hate that. Now y'all imagine if all the Congressional Black Caucus had that same energy like our brother Eric Mays. Just imagine the difference that would be in this country for Black America. Imagine all your local politicians had that same energy like Eric Mays and fighting for what's right, in the community. Could you imagine that? That's why they don't want people like him, being all in the politicians. No, they want more Brandon Johnsons in Chicago, right? They want more Eric Adams in New York. That's what the Democrats for sure, that's what they want. They don't want no one rah-rahing for Black people. Yet the Democrats say they are friends. They say, oh, racism, racism, racism. Oh, get us in office. We're going to help you with racism. And then when they get in office, they do nothing about racism. And they continue with the same racism against Black people, right? The status quo. But Black people in this country, and I say the majority, really believe the Democrats are for them because they talk about racism. They talk about the wealth gap. But they do nothing about it when you give them power. Now, let's because I can rant all day about the Democrats. But let's get to the meat of what, we're talking about today. And the reason why I decided to talk about this is because I've been hearing this a lot on social media. And people been saying, oh, well, they're bringing the migrants in here to replace us. Oh, we're going to be replaced. Replace. Okay, so I said, let's go on and talk about that. I'm going to give it from at least my perspective. I'll look at the chat here and there, and I'll look and see kind of what some of you are saying. If I'm looking this way, I'm kind of glancing at the chat. So when I hear they're bringing them in here to replace us, the first thing I think about is, how are they going to replace us in our culture, replace us as a people, replace our history, not only here, but throughout the world, replace our inventions, replace our musical creations, replace our swag, our ingenuity. Like, how are they going to replace all that? That's what I'm trying to figure out on the world stage. How are they going to replace all that? Let's call it what it is. Nobody even paying attention to them, even in their own homelands. Nobody paying attention to their anything. Any little move that we make, everybody pay attention to. Nobody paying attention to them. Matter of fact, if they wasn't siphoning all the resources out from different cities, nobody wouldn't even know they're here. Let's call it what it is. If they would have never siphoned the resources, they would never created a migrant crisis in these different cities, nobody wouldn't even know. If they just kind of stayed quiet, like the Chinese coming in here too now. Oh yeah, they coming. But the Chinese come in and they go to their own communities and they just stay there and they getting help from what I was, reading about. The Chinese government gives them phones and give them money and all that stuff when they come over here, right? So they people not being tracked and all that. So you don't even know. Just like those Ukrainians that's coming over, they're flying the Ukrainians over here too now, and they put them in the white community. So you don't even know they're here because they're being quiet about it, right? So how could any kind of migrant that come here really replace Black Americans? What is your fear, and what position are we in that you feel that we can actually be replaced? Where's that terminology coming from? What position you feel that is threatened right now in America? What is that position? And I'm gonna look at the chat as I'm talking to answer me that question. What is your position that you fear that another group of people gonna take your spot? Listen, it's certain things that I want somebody to replace me. I'll tell you what I want. I want somebody to replace me and they can take the mass incarceration. They can take the racism. They can take the economic sabotage. They can take the last hire, first fire. They can take that. They can take the medical apartheid that happens to Black people. They can take what happens to Black women in the hospitals with childbirth. Listen, you can replace us all day with that. You can have it. Please take our spot. We don't want it. That's what you can replace me with. Now, let me use myself personally. Any migrant that come over here to this country, there's no migrant that can replace me. I don't fear a migrant coming in here and messing with nothing that I am doing, because a migrant can't be me, no matter where they come from. They can't be me. They can't do what I do and how I do it. I'm unique to myself, right? What I have worked toward, built, and what I'm trying to continue to build, I don't fear a migrant coming in and replacing me and doing anything. I just really don't. Now, a migrant can replace you if you're working for the folks. Oh, yes. So you're working for the folks. You getting paid $20 an hour. But a migrant say, I'll take 10. You can easily be replaced right there, or I'm with you. And they exactly going to do that, because you have to understand, the history of America is slavery. At one point in time, let's talk about the American history here. At one point in time, we were the so-called class of people that were taking white people's jobs. Listen to me. So when Black people start going to the North, definitely during the Great Migration, a lot of the white people had a problem with it, because we were the people that was taking lower wages than what the white people was getting. And they was upset, and they was even constantly trying to attack us and everything, because we were taking these jobs, because these jobs paid a little more than what we was getting in the South, but they wasn't getting paying what they were paying the white people. So they gave Black people all those manufacturing jobs, jobs to, build construction. Black people was having those jobs for a very long time, because Black people was taking a less salary. Now, black people have gotten to the point where, like white people would be, hey, I know my rights. I know this, I know that. I need to be paid right. They follow the same pattern. Say, okay, black folk, you can get you that way. Well, let me go to these other people over here. They'll take that less, because understand, this country started off with free labor. This country has never paid the right wage for labor. And at the same time, they have screwed this country up so much with inflation that they make it hard for people to live off of one income like it used to be. Listen, those baby boomers and the silent generation have messed this country up. Number one, they hold all the wealth, and they didn't, and they selfish at the same time. While they spending all the money and screwed up all the benefits and screwed up the everything, that generation has enjoyed it all and screwed it all off. So when that generation completely die off, the children of those generation is going to be in trouble. You understand? During that generation, they got to have one job, wife stay at home with some kids, and you can buy 2 cars off of one job, send your kids to college off of one job and everything. That same generation, you can buy a house for $12,000. And even in the black community, we didn't stay in apartments. We stayed in homes. Even my grandparents' home. Both my grandparents had houses. They never stayed in no doggone apartments. Everybody had a house. We talking about black communities, black neighborhoods, not freaking housing projects, but homes. Even where I'm from in Port Arthur, everybody had a home. And now that generation screwed off everything so much that now you can't even, it's hard for you to get a home these days because of that doggone generation. Those people that's coming in here now, they got a rude awakening. Let me tell you something. They really couldn't make it in this country if they wasn't getting all them handouts they're getting right now. You better believe that. You better believe that. And they actually on a lifeline. Because let's say if Biden gets voted out, do you really think they're going to be getting all that if Trump get in there? No. Then you're going to really see something. But at the same time, even people in the Democrat states are getting tired of, hey, wait a minute, why are they getting all these hotels? Now I was hearing that people are making $20,000 a week in hotels as managers, $20,000 a week. I'm hearing people are making. Managers of hotels where the migrants at, $20,000 a week. That's why you see them sitting up at hotels. They getting cars, not paying anything. Now, when black Americans see that, they say, wait a minute. If I go drive without a driving license, man, they trying to call 20 police on me to come hem me up because I'm driving without a license or driving without insurance. They driving without a license or insurance. Now, I will say this. They not even doing a replacement deal. They're doing this is a special class of people and we can't touch them. Because you remember in New York when they jumped the police over there. They didn't beat them. They didn't pull out the gun and shoot them 17 times. But how many times have we seen people that has ran from the police and they just gun them down like and they running from them, not even hitting them, running from them, right? How many times have we seen people get beat down for years in the black community? But yet these migrant males committing crimes in New York, committing crimes in Chicago. They just had a migrant male committed a heinous crime against a young white college student. They arrested his behind, right? But they gonna have a problem on their hands. Trust me, in a few years with all the males they let in here, bunch of men they let in here, bunch of them, they gonna have a problem. All you have to do with that situation is just sit back, wait, and watch. Now, let's get back to, you say you're being replaced. How you feel you're being replaced? You feel like you're being replaced politically? Is that what you feel the replacement is? Is it politically? You know what, Siobhan Blue? There was this lady on X, formerly known as Twitter, said that she talked to a dude in the NYPD that she know personally, and she said they've been told exactly what you just said, to stand down. don't be heavy-handed on them like you are to black people. And see, what I cannot, now you talking about replacement, what I can't stand about black lawyers. Any black lawyers in the chat? I think I'm gonna have to stop just pissing off black lawyers in this country. I think I'm gonna have to. You black lawyers in this country, you do nothing with that law license you got. Nothing. Oh, Edward Bloom running around here trying to take rights away and from black folks. But you black lawyers, you see what's happening in these sanctuary cities. These sanctuary cities, even those policies of sanctuary city, is discriminatory. How are you going to say that you're not going to assist the federal government in apprehending criminals? But you would assist the federal government in apprehending black Americans or any other American. That alone should be a lawsuit, a federal lawsuit for discrimination. Either you do it for everybody or you don't do it for nobody. How is it that these sanctuary cities, but the thing is, nobody is challenging them in the courts. Where's all our black? But see, this is the problem with our black organizations. All of them are Democrat. So if the Democrats are cool with it, they're cool with it. They're not going to say anything. Unfortunately, being Democrat in this country is literally to cut the throat of black America. You're not going to defend black America if the Democrats don't tell you to. If the Democrats say it's okay for you to go fight this, they'll go fight it. If the Democrats say, well, we don't really want you to do this, they're not going to do it. Our black lawyers, our black clergy, our black whatever is so controlled by the Democrat Party. They are. Because you got to think about it. A lot of black people are in the major cities. No matter what state you're in, the major cities are controlled by the Democrat Party. Let's take Texas. Dallas, Democrat. It's a red state outside of Dallas, but Dallas is Democrat. Houston, strong Democrat. It is. Austin, strong Democrat. And that's the capital of Texas. Strong Democrat. San Antonio, Democrat. We talking about Texas. You go to Georgia, Atlanta, Democrat. And that's the capital, right? But outside of Atlanta, it's all red. Everywhere is a major city, it's all Democrat. And yet these so-called Democrat policies, the same Democrat Party that you're talking about, these people going to replace you, it's the party that we keep voting for that's trying to push you to the abyss. Listen, even in Chicago, Rahm Emanuel, Democrat, closed 50 schools in Chicago. 50. The black community was saying, hey, we can't be closing these schools because you have kids crossing into different territories with these gangs, and we don't need these problems. Leave these schools open. Rahm Emanuel said, nope, I'm closing these schools. Then you say, okay, we sick of Rahm Emanuel. You had Laquan McDonald. That happened under Rahm Emanuel, all that. Fine. Then you go vote in Lori Lightfoot, Democrat. You look at Lori Lightfoot, y'all got mad at her in Chicago. Okay, fine. You didn't like Uncle Mammy, no problem. Then you go get Brandon Johnson, Democrat, right? Now look at what he's doing. He's doing even worse. Now he's opening the schools that y'all mad about in Chicago, but he's opening it up for the migrants, not you. Not the blacks that's homeless in Chicago. No, not you. For them. The biggest slap in the face, Chicago gets brutal weather, especially with that wind. Oh, Lord, that Chicago wind is something else. And not a single person should be on the show. I've told this story many times, I think on the podcast, but not here. So back in October of last year, me and my wife went to Chicago. We wanted to take a trip. It was our first time in Chicago. And so say, hey, I want to show you, Chicago. Because even my first time going was the previous time. I went basically work, right? Work we doing here. So we went to Giordano's Pizza. I wanted to take her there. And then when we got out, I had saw like, you know, a young lady curled up, like, and I'm like, is that a person right there? So I went to look, and when this young lady looked up, you know, she reminded me of my daughter, like completely. You know, I got daughters from 21 to 24, that range. So she a young lady, looked like my daughter. Didn't look like she was on no drugs or nothing like that. And, you know, it just really bothered me. And we had a bunch of extra pizza left, right? So I told my wife, I said, I don't know if you saw. I said, little young lady, you say, see her? It reminds us of our kids. And she looked and said, oh my God. She put her head down. He said, hey, see if she wants the pizza. Cause we had a lot left. So I went up to her and I said, hey, young sister. I said, you hungry? I said, you want, the pizza? I had a lot. They said, had any meat on it? I said, nah, no meat. I mean, it was like, if you go to Gordano's, that's that big, thick Chicago pizza. Trust me. She looked at it. She said, oh, thank you about it. I appreciate it. So then we went into this other spot right around the corner, and he got some hot chocolate. We made sure to bring her like a big hot chocolate, right? So we brought her a big hot chocolate. She was very happy about that. But when I walked away from her, I was so upset because Brandon Johnson is sitting up here putting migrants in schools, but you got a young Black American woman is on the streets. You see, and Black Americans, FBA, whatever you want to say today, go ahead and go vote for these Democrats. And I've said this, it's not a Rahm Emanuel problem. It wasn't a Lori Lightfoot problem. It's not even a Brandon Johnson problem. Because see, a lot of Black people think, oh, well, I can just change the mayor, or I can change the city council and everything gonna be good. No, it's the Democrat. It's these Democrat policies that's taken away from you. Let's go to Boston. I had covered on the podcast. You have a brother who's homeless. Mayor Wu out there, Michelle Wu in Boston. She went to the Black community, taking away their community center. No different they was trying to do in the Austin community out there in Chicago. Took away their community center in the middle of the night. Put papers up where they couldn't see in there. Quietly moving stuff out. They do this in the middle of the night when you're sleeping, Black people. They move everything out, move all these beds in, do all this sort of thing. And then by the time you catch what they're doing, they done got the migrants in there when you were sleeping. So they had a brother, if you saw that particular podcast that I made on the Phillip Scott podcast, make sure you subscribe to the Phillip Scott podcast. Why don't you subscribe to all my channels, please? But the brother came up and saw that and he was upset. And he was cussing out the Boston Police Department because he said, wait a minute, I can't afford to even stay in this city. I work a full-time job and homeless. And when I heard him say that, I say, wait a minute, hold on. We got Black Americans that's working full-time jobs and homeless, but the migrants that come across that doggone border and they get put in a shelter because they chose to come up here. Listen, they chose to come up here. I'm gonna repeat that again. They chose to come up here. None of them are in a war. They're not in Palestine somewhere. They're not over there in Ukraine or none of that stuff. No. None of them Latin American countries got no war going on. Now, Palestinians came over here, I would understand it. But nobody in Latin America got a war. So what you talking about, you need asylum? You know what I'm saying? They're gaming the system because Democrats told them how to game the system. And because Black America has been so entrenched with the Democrat Party, this is why they'll just do whatever they want to do to you and take resources away from you. To the point that now you're saying, are they trying to replace us? You're saying that because your resources are being taken away by the same party that you keep voting for at 90+%. You doing that. You. Instead of saying, I should not be a Democrat, I should not be a Republican either. I should be politically independent. And I'm going to go with policy over party. Whatever party is going to give me policies, tangible policies, that's going to economically empower my community, then and only then will I come out and vote for these people. But if you're actively trying to harm my community, which the Democrats are, when you're actively trying to harm my community economically, Listen, y'all need to get up off of that. And listen, I'm going to be preaching this forever now. I don't want to hear no Democrats talking racism no more. I don't want to hear it. Hold on. I like this comment. J.J. Mars say your black churches, black lawyers, black college, academic news commentators, etc. have failed the community completely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm with you. 100%. 100%. Yes. Your black church have led you right to the Democrats. Every time. That's why the Democrats go into the black churches. I don't go to your black church because the Democrat can't talk to me. And I listen, I talk to a Democrat. I said, I was doing my podcast this morning. It'd be put up tonight. I will sit down and talk with Vice President Kamala Harris. I'll talk to her and do an interview with her and ask her some questions. And I'll sit down with Trump too and ask him some questions. And the questions wouldn't change. Because I want to know what you going to do for black folk. What are you going to do? Because at this point, y'all harming black people. And black people, we got to blame ourselves, though. At this point, we got to blame ourselves. Because what I'm seeing is a lot of black Democrats are like just rumbling and upset. All the Democrats don't really do for us or whatever. But on election day, you still go hit Democrat, though. This is why the Democrat Party don't take none of you serious. Because all you're going to do is go out there and vote Democrat. Listen, you got a local race right now. And listen, even with Democrats, y'all keep the same Democrats. Y'all don't even want to change them. Sheila Jackson Lee was beaten horribly here in Houston with John Whitmer, right? Amanda Edwards, she's a young woman, Gen X, generation, woman, lawyer. She was running for that spot. Sheila Jackson Lee, when she lost that election, she went and to go run for that seat again. Sheila Jackson Lee haven't done nothing. She won't even let the young woman say, you know what, I'm gonna let this young woman take it. I done my piece, right? I'm cool. No. Then they said, I saw the other day talking about she's 5% in the polls above Amanda Edwards. And I'm like, I don't understand black people. I really don't. I don't. Now, the older generation, I already know how they think and how they vote. I don't even mention them. But when it comes to Gen X, when it comes to millennials and Gen Z, this is the people I'm going to always be talking to from now on. You can't complain about what's going on if you're not trying to do a few things. And I'm going to preach this. All of you need to be registered to vote. I say that. You can't talk about what they're doing if you're not going to be participating in any kind of process to make a change in that. You understand what I'm saying? There's more, they said more Gen X, Millennial, and Gen Z Americans in this country right now than silent generation and baby boomers. But yet the silent generation and baby boomers, they vote every election. They show up. And this is why we are stuck with Biden. You understand? This is also why we stuck with Mitch McConnell, too. It's on both sides, Democrat and Republican. That generation shows up. Young people complain. Young people talk about inflation. Young people talk about we can't get a house, we can't get a car, we can't get this, can't get that. But yet, okay, so why don't we all register to vote? And then we figure out what we're going to do. Is a certain candidate we want to do? Listen, if you really want to change the system per se, then if a third party candidate was it, and let's say if they were, everybody could have went and voted for them, right? Or you can at least sit it out. Now, let's say if you're going to choose the couch, still register to vote. Let me tell you why. You want it quantified that how many registered voters actually sat on the couch. You want that. And you could tell the Democrats, well, the reason why I sat on the couch is because you didn't have nothing for me. You were stealing resources from my community. And no, I'm not rewarding you with no doggone vote. So I'm choosing the couch this time. If Trump don't offer nothing that you like, then, hey, I'll choose the couch. It's just that simple. But candidates going to have to start running. And I'm not talking about the Jasmine Crockett's of the world. I'm not talking about them, because you do have some younger people still out here, but unfortunately that previous generation got them already on the take. They do. Now, some people say, why don't you get involved in politics? No. Not me. I don't have that calling. Not for politics. I'm doing good what I'm doing right now. But I will support you brothers and sisters that want to do it. But no, that would restrict me. I would do better what I'm doing now. I can't be just held to a seat, held to a position, can't do this, can't, no. That's not me. But some of you, that may be a good thing for you. Get involved. And the young people gotta start dictating. Let me tell you something. This older generation, there's not gonna be no Social Security for you because they squandered the money. All these wars and how Biden is just making everybody upset in other parts of the world. When Biden if he's voted out or whatever the case may be, you're gonna be stuck with other countries having a problem with Americans or even trying to attack America. You're gonna be stuck with it. Not him, us. That generation, I'm telling y'all better find some candidates and get that generation out of office. Maxine Waters, Clyburn, all them people like that. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care what race you are. That generation need to move around. They can't really operate AI. They trying to make laws that dictate social media, AI, and all these people don't even know how to operate half of this stuff. Yeah, we're going to trust them to make laws for the things that we know how to work. It doesn't make sense. Black people, we got to take responsibility on what's happening in our own communities. And when I go talk about Democrat, people always go to Republican. You're not voting for Republicans at 90%, so why am I going to talk about them? It's nothing to talk about at that point. Remember, it's not Republicans that's taking your resources. It's Brandon Johnson, Democrat. It's Eric Adams, Democrat. It's Michelle Wu in Boston, Democrat. It's Mike Johnston in Denver, Democrat. Do I need to keep going? Governor Pritzker in Illinois, Democrat. They say they spent $1 billion on migrants. But let you talk about, hey, well, you can put $1 billion on some reparations. Oh, no. I ain't got no, we ain't got no reparations for y'all black Americans. Oh, no. Why should we pay for that? And I've said this many times in my podcast. Hey, white Americans, why aren't you screaming and yelling about you shouldn't have to pay for that? Because notice, I told y'all before, when it comes to talking about reparations in the form of cash payments, all of a sudden they become economists. We can't afford that because it's going to drive inflation and it's going to break the country and it's going to do this, it's going to do that. Oh, everybody gets all economics now. But when it comes to the migrants, them same people not talking about economics. Why should I have to pay? You're paying for the migrants and not saying a word. Then let's talk about something else we need to bring up. Native Americans. Are we supposed to pay for that forever? Let's think about that. Forever. Why don't y'all use that same thing when you say, well, I had nothing to do with slavery. Why should we pay? Well, you had nothing to do with the Trail of Tears or any atrocities with Native Americans, but yeah, you don't say nothing about paying for it. And I'm paying for it too. Black people didn't have nothing to do with Native Americans. We haven't done a thing to Native Americans, but yet my tax dollars is going to them. I want y'all to understand that. Every time other groups get money, they say nothing. That's why I told y'all, when they are against reparations, it's anti-black racism. It's not economics. Look at during the pandemic. They put out almost $4 trillion like this. No study, no research, no nothing. Put the money out in the trillions. But when it comes to us about reparations, look, even the Democrats say, well, we support a study. We'll study it. Okay, California, they did their study. Fine. Then when it's time to pay, Democrat Gavin Newsom, well, he went on Fox. Well, no, reparations not cash payments now. That's your Democrat. If you can't get reparations in California, and that's Democrat stronghold. If you can't get reparations in New York, Democrat stronghold. Democrats do not want you economically empowered, Black America. Have you figured that out? Because if they were truly your friend, they would pay you reparations. They're not your friend. Just you say the Republicans are racist, the Democrats are more racist. That's how I personally feel. Who's the one that dropped all the policies of Trump to have this migrant crisis, and then the so-called sanctuary cities, right? All these cities where Black people at. And even that Black people is at City Hall. Hey, man, come on now. This is our resources. This is our community, XYZ. We don't care. Look at Chicago. When the citizens wanted a vote for March, actually, to see if they want to put sanctuary status on the ballot and say, hey, let the people decide. They brought it up to a vote. Brandon Johnson was the deciding vote to knock down democracy. Because Democrats do not believe in democracy. Because putting sanctuary city status on the ballot is democracy. Now, if they voted for sanctuary city, then I'm cool with it at that point because they voted for it. The people voted. The Democrats do not want you to vote on anything other than put them in office because they just want to believe in keeping their power. You understand? So when it comes to you saying you being replaced, the Democrat Party is trying to actively economically harm us and trying to move you out of the way and put you in so much abject poverty where you can't even stay in your own neighborhoods, where you be homeless, and move the migrants into your homes. That's who's trying to replace you. It's the party you're voting for. The NAACP and the Urban League, of course, they're silent. Of course. They are organizations of the Democrat Party. Of course, they're going to be silent. They do not care if Black Americans are homeless. They don't care if 50 schools got closed in Chicago. They don't care. They don't care. Well, how you going? Listen, y'all have to understand, there are Black people that benefit from the status quo. There are Black people that benefit from you staying a permanent underclass. They assist white supremacy in keeping you as a permanent underclass. They are the illusion of opposition, but really, like I say, they are an illusion. They on the team, but they give an illusion that they are against, and they're paid for that illusion. They're paid for it. So if they're silent about the migrant crisis, and think about it, the only time they talk about it is when they come up with a narrative. Now, check this out. Forever, they wasn't talking about migrants. It was quiet. Look, this is Democrat. That was them on the migrant crisis that they created. Then all of a sudden, they start talking about it out of the blue. You remember everybody was telling Boule Martin, hey, Boule, why you not talking about the migrant crisis? And all of a sudden, he started talking about it. Only when the Democrats started talking about it. You understand? They only talk about, it's like they all got to get permission from the Democrat Party before they talk about anything. It don't matter if something happened to a Black person. You think about it, so-called NAACP and Urban League supposed to be for Black people, but they don't say nothing about what happens to Black people. What happened to Breonna Taylor, they were quiet about that. Think about it. Even George Floyd, they were quiet about that for a while until the Democrats said, ooh, you know what? I see an angle how we can get voted in. Now let's go in there and talk about it. And unfortunately, Black people fell for it. Now, let me warn all of you what the Democrats are about to do. The case here in Texas, Darryl George. If you've seen the interview that I interviewed his mom about, in Barbers Hill Independent School District, they wanted him to cut his locks. Talking about it was too long, but he always kept his hair tied up. So Texas passed a Crown Act to prevent discrimination against, natural hairstyles. Well, Allie, Allie, right? Allie was the attorney. Allie went, they filed a lawsuit and the judge agreed with the school. I think appeal has been filed. In that case, right? Now, all of a sudden, all before, when I was talking to the mom, I talked to Allie, Dr. Candace Matthews, Sheila Jackson Lee was nowhere to be found. Now, all of a sudden, election time, Sheila Jackson Lee is trying to come around Darryl George, right? Then I'm hearing on the grapevine that young man has been invited to the State of the Union address. So what the Democrats are trying to do is use that child to garner votes to get, because the Democrats are very good at getting Black Americans to vote for them based on race. Oh, they great at talking about racism. Oh, look how racist they are. And see, that's why you got to vote for Democrats, because we would deal with that racism. Okay, then you put them in office, right? You put them in office. Fine. And then the same racism that you were dealing with before they got in office, I'll be still there in 2 years when they talking about come vote for me in the midterms. And then it will be there again the next 2 years when it's time to vote for president. Black people have gave the Democrats before the White House, the House, and the Senate. The first 2 years of Barack Obama's presidency, he had all of that. If Barack Obama wanted to do reparations, those first 2 years he could have. He could have did it. Did he do it? Nope. He couldn't even pay. They talking about, the Affordable Care Act. No. Do you know, talking about South Africa, South Africa has free health care? I'm going to repeat that again. South Africa has free health care, and we don't have it as American citizens? Really? After when Biden got in, Black folks gave him the Senate, Black folks gave him the House. What did we get out of it? The first thing Biden went and do is Asian hate crime bill. We don't get nothing for all our voting, all that standing in line. We disrespected and everything, but you talking about being replaced? The Democrats is the one that's trying to not only economically replace you, but have you on homeless. And then in the same time, they're criminalizing homelessness in a lot of these cities. And these are Democrat-ran cities, want to criminalize homelessness. But just don't take my word for it. Go do your research yourself. But then when I talk about the Democrat Party and what they have done to Black people, some of you get mad. Why you get mad at me? Don't get mad at me. Get mad at them. I'm just telling you what they've done. I just saw a movie last night. I didn't even know about this young lady, Kimba Smith. Didn't know about this young lady. True story. And I rarely get caught up on some movies. So it's what got me started on watching the movie was they showed Bill Clinton, and he was talking about the 1994 crime bill. And then they played that clip of Biden, which I've covered before. Well, Biden talking about, if they got a drug problem, they can have it in jail and they get cleaned up in jail. And I don't want them around my family and all, Biden was just going in about that. And they did the 1994 crime bill and how the mandatory minimums put so many Black people, and it was racist because, they used cocaine, but crack cocaine had 100-to-1 sentencing, but you had powder and it wasn't the same. Completely racist because, Black people did the rock. They didn't do the powder. And this young lady was, in college, met a Pookie. Got caught up with that situation, unfortunately. Long story short, she ended up getting charged for stuff that she didn't even do. She didn't use drugs. She didn't deal it, nothing. But they just put charges on her and got her locked up at the time and gave her 24 years because the judge was like, you're not a threat to society. And I think, you should, not even be in jail. But unfortunately, there's mandatory minimums. I can't even go around it. You know what I'm saying? And that was Biden. Now, of course, there's more to the story. I mean, she actually eventually got out. She wrote a book. You can look all into the story. It's a good movie. It's called Kimba. Watch it. It will get you so upset just watching that story, and you're seeing Biden in the beginning. And then I was so angry when I watched that story, that movie, because I was like, you black people went and voted this dude in, man. That had got so many black people locked up in jail. That's who I was mad at. I'm mad at black people. You know what he did to our families, man. And y'all still went and voted that dude back in. I just like, that's why we lose. We lose because of ourselves. It's not always white supremacy. It's black folk. Why we keep losing sometimes. It's us. We can't even get to dealing with racism. We got to deal with ourselves first. We are our biggest stumbling block. Yeah, I wasn't familiar. I see y'all say y'all familiar with it. I wasn't familiar with her case. I don't know everything. Come on now. I'm not God. But when I seen that, I got so upset because when I seen Biden in the beginning of that, and I'm glad they put that in. When I seen that Biden and Clinton had this, and black people, in the Congressional Black Caucus, they all voted for the 1994 crime bill. It wasn't just Joe Biden and Bill Clinton now. The Congressional Black Caucus voted for that. That's what I'm talking about. They voted for it. Eric Gray, you say that we lose because, man, listen, the system don't tell us who to vote for, Eric Gray. The system has never stopped me from voting for here or there. No, that's not the system. No, we need to take personal responsibility as a black community on our own personal failures and how we uphold our own oppression. We support the black preacher. We support the boule. We support the Democrats. Nobody's forcing us to do that. Nobody holding a gun to our head. Nobody got a whip in their hand or anything to force us to do anything. We're choosing to do that on our own. Stop with all that imaginary. It's not the system. Now, when something's a system, I'll tell you, oh yeah, it's a system. I'll tell you. You know, when you want to talk about home loans, business loans, I would say it was the banking industry for sure, trying to trip us up. But if we really want to change some things and unify and change, we can do it. Ain't no system gonna stop us from doing that. Look, y'all call yourself now FBA, Foundation of Black America. Did the system stop you from saying that? No, you're saying it because you want to. Why you give the system so much power that it don't even have? No, y'all participate in the system to oppress you. You go vote for people in the black community that will continue to help the system oppress you. You participate in your oppression. And you get mad when somebody call you out on it. How dare you say I can't vote Democrat and that's going to oppress me? But then you be complaining. You complain on the Democrats and what they're not doing, but then when it's election time, you go vote Democrat. Don, you say we must leave America. If we choose to, that's a choice. But realistically, 47 million people is not going to mass exodus anywhere. So we need to stand and fight in our own homeland. So a few of us can do it, but the average American, they're not going to do that. They can't afford to. Just be real. They can't afford to. Now, some people who've gotten a good career or maybe can keep American dollars and move abroad. You know, for instance, I listened to Mark and Dr. Latasha on an interview, and they said if you make $25,000 to $30,000 a year, you can live like a king in South Africa. Okay, but the average person don't make that kind of money remote to do that. And most people not gonna move abroad like that. America has us so twisted that we're afraid to leave this country, unfortunately, some of us. But that has nothing to do with anything. The solution isn't everybody leave. That's not really the solution, because you don't not understand that even you go to an African nation, you're still gonna go there at a higher class. And you're gonna deal with that problem, jealousy or whatever else may be, because you're coming in mass and you're gonna have more resources than that said group that's the locals, right? So no, we need to be responsible right here in America. And I love the continent. Trust me, I want to get my first place there. And I said that before. I want to be back and forth. I want so many months there, so many months here. That's my ultimate goal. But I still care about what happens here because I got family here. I got community here. We got to take responsibility as Black America for what we do. Or don't take responsibility. And the Democrats could get you out your neighborhoods and they have you all homeless. And then the migrants will be moving right in your house. That's on you. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the live stream. We greatly appreciate it. I'll be joining you tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. For the live stream. Make sure you join us at 7 p.m. for that live stream tomorrow. Also, thank you for joining us on the African Diaspora News Channel app. Those of you who got memberships, I greatly appreciate it. It helps us to secure our platform, because you know these platforms, they can take something down, and if they demonetize, because if they demonetize anything or any copyright anything, I'm immediately going to take it down, and it's going to be on our website /app. That's where it's going to be. So if you see anything missing, that's where it's at for whatever the reason. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.